So finally, what was the big decision?
So
saying, let me pack up and get to the States. You're Steve Regal.
You know I waffle on a bit, right?
No,
Going back stuff.
no, good. I got the recorder running.
I was doing all that stuff. From 20 till 24, I was never at home. I was literally wrestling in England maybe 2 months of the year. And I was living there, but I was off all the time. The last year I was there, 92, I was in England for 2 months. I was away for 9 months.
What'd your dad think when you hauled off and took off? I mean, was he behind you? Wanted you to get a regular job?
He wanted me to take over his construction business and be a bricklayer, and I just knew from a little kid. He broke his heart, but he's always supported me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's just a great fella. I still think to this day, he still thinks I'm going to go back and start up his business again. So I got like travelling, and I was just non-stop travelling. And then 1991, out of the blue, I get a FedEx come to my house from the WWF. I didn't even know what a FedEx van was or a FedEx. I'm sat in my house and a van pulls up outside. I had a few things in my house that shouldn't have been in there. Let's put it that way. Because it was all, you know, just the life and the people I hung ground with who were always buying and selling things and, you know, like, and not bad things, just video recorders and stuff and that. And that was part of just to get through life. That's what I did. And I thought it was the SWAT team come to get me. So I'm panicking. I see a van pull up outside, you know, with writing on that I had no clue what it was. I thought, oh, here we go. Yeah. It's off now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
finally caught up to me.
I'm sticking stuff under the couch and everything, like just trying to ram stuff up in the attic. And there's a knock. Oh, here we go. And it was just left this letter on this FedEx from the WWF. Can you come to the Royal Albert Hall?
So you opened it.
Yeah, right. Well, I looked on the back and it said WWF. Oh, all right. So.
Now, what year was that?
That was 91.
Okay.
So I get this, can you come to the Royal Albert Hall? We'd like to look at you. Where's this come from? This is like a punch in the face, right? You know, a good punch. Okay. So I go down there, and I get down there, and I have a match at the Royal Albert Hall. It was something they put on, it was like a special show for England, and they did a Battle Royal, and Davy Boy won the Battle Royal and that. And then they asked me to go to Wembley the next night, and then they said, look, we like you. It could be several years till we get back in touch, but we will keep in touch, but we like you and we'll find the right thing for you, because I was only 22 maybe. Yeah. I said, great. A couple of weeks later, I get a call. WCW was on late night TV in England. Can you come and do work for us? This was November of 91. I don't know how I got that. I think it was Scott Hall, because I knew Scott from 1989 in Germany. I spent a couple of months with him there. I don't know who suggested me. I still don't know.
How did he do over in England? I mean, over in Germany.
Germany, fantastic.
Yeah. He was always a good worker.
Brilliant. Yeah. He was Texas Scott Hall.
With a big cowboy hat and big mustache.
People loved him. And
good-looking dude.
And he fit right in there. Yeah. You know, because he knew exactly how to do his stuff and to fit in with everybody. So, I don't know. I've asked him and he's never admitted. He's never said one way or the other. But anyway, so I go and basically Giant Haystacks was there, and they wanted to look at him. And I wrestled with Giant Haystacks all the time, hundreds of times, right? So they wanted me to wrestle him, and then they said, can you stay for the rest of the week because somebody's hurt or something? I still never found out what. So I'm okay, yeah, I'll stay with you. So we did a couple of days in London, and then we did a show in Sheffield, and then we did a show in Dublin. And in that week, I wrestled Terry Taylor, Jimmy.
That'd have been fun. You guys had a
incredible,
great match.
Yeah. And we'd never, you know, because you know what winds me up a lot when people say, "Oh, well, I've got a different style." I never had any problems working with any of them fellas that from that era of group
that knew how to work.
Exactly.
Right.
It's nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's people who've never learnt the job properly.
Yeah.
If I turn your arm one way, it goes that way, and if you turn, I go that way, and if you hit me, I sell it that way, right? That's, and so there's anybody who gets that there's a point when, well, it has a difference. It's just people who don't know what they're doing, really,
right.
And they make excuses for their lack of abilities, right? So I had a great week. I worked with Michael Hayes, Terry Garvin, Terry Taylor, Giant Haystacks the one day, and then Oz. I worked with Kevin when he was still Oz.
Yeah, how was that?
It was okay, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just he was not. He hadn't, you know, he was still trying to find himself at that point, wasn't he? He wasn't sure, and that was a terrible gimmick he was given. But you know, I remember being in Dublin. Anyway, so they said at the end of the week, "We like you. we want you to come. So I'm thinking, well, whoever gets hold of me first, right? Because I'd seen the writing on the wall by then. You saw American shows were on TV in England now. Once you've seen that, you don't want to go back to watching, a little ring with a 100-watt light bulb above it.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's fun for a while.
And all of a sudden you get a taste of
They see that production and everything. And I wanted to come to America, I always wanted to come to America. Everybody does, right? Well, most people do. So now it's looking like a natural chance for me to come. So I go about my business the next year, 92. I am absolutely book solid. I worked the first 2 months in England every single night. It was on fire. The TV World of Sport had been taken off TV in 1988, and it went through a few ups and downs.
Why did it get taken off TV?
There was a lot of it to do with the promotion and not making any new stars. That was one thing, but that's not everything. Basically, a fella called Greg Dyke, who now is the head of the BBC, came to ITV, and he decided that wrestling and darts is professional darts is a big thing in England, and snooker, things like that were too working class. He wanted to upgrade everything, and thought that the working classes, which is most of Britain that watch TV, because there's such a big class system, he thought he knew better than they did. Right? So first thing he did was move wrestling. In a 2-year spell, he moved wrestling from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which it was always on, regular spot, 4 o'clock on a Saturday. They used to be saying in England, everything stopped at 4 o'clock. That's the working classes.
So I was serious about the wrestling.
Working classes watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? Moved it from 4 o'clock to midday in 1986. Everybody, not everybody, but most factories, everything else, everything worked half day on a Saturday in that period of time. Till 12:30. That was a work week in England, 5.5 days a week. Within a week of them moving it from 4 o'clock till 12, the figures dropped in half, just for the time spot. But within 2 years of watching the figures drop off, he's got a perfect excuse to just take it off.
Right.
When it was took off, it was still getting 4-point-something million. Yeah. It was still getting... People would die for that now, right? 4-point-something million. Main shows on a Saturday night don't get that, and that was when they took it off.
So then what happened to the wrestling scene there in England if they didn't have a TV?
It went underground for a while. A lot of people had to get jobs. You know, Brian Dixon, who was what we used to call the opposition promoter, he sort of came into his own then. Dale Martins, who ran the TV, sort of went away. Brian Dixon kept running shows and he had all the best talent that was there and just kept running and running. Right. And everything was posters and word of mouth anyway. Right. Regular buildings, through the winter. You did most places you did every month or every 2 weeks. And kept it going. And so it fluctuated a bit. But by 92, 91, 92, everything was on fire again. No TV, and all the buildings were doing incredibly well. Now they're only small buildings, right? Between 3 and 5,000 people. But I was in the beginning of 92. It was Dave Taylor against Fit Finlay chasing for the British Championship, chasing each other on one tour. Ryan had 2 shows a night, and then the other show was Kendo Nagasaki in a tag match with whoever he was and whoever else was fitting in there. So you'd be going between the two. I was at that time, remember Evad Sullivan, Dave Sullivan? Yeah. Right, well, he was over, he'd been in Germany, and he came to England, and I was on a few shows with him. So we were just sort of moving around between the 2 tours and just busy all the time. Or some nights I'd be on in the Nagasaki tags, me and whoever, and Pat Roach and against them too, and whoever. Right, always working. And then March the 1st of that year,